I did not pick it. I pick it. Hey, I did not pick it. I pick it. Shaking my meal, I get it. Baby, I so swan, I pick it. I pick it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia for his visionary leadership for the good people of this country, especially for the young people of this country. We have the Motor Riders Association with us. Are you here, the Motor Riders? Please put your hands together for the Motor Riders for us. The Motor Riders Association are here with us. We have the young assembly members in Greater Accra. The assembly members who are young assembly members, put your hands together for the young assembly members in Greater Accra. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier on, I indicated that we have across the country millions of young people who are participating in this event. And let me indicate, this is participation. They are not just watching, they are engaged just as we are here. And this is only possible through digitalization. Digitalization is connecting communities, connecting regions, and connecting societies. We are about to hear what is at stake for us in terms of job creation going into the future of Ghana. Now, I would crave your indulgence to ensure that whilst we listen to the Vice President, we have utmost concentration as we listen to him. At this juncture, the Gen Zs, the young persons in secondary school, the young persons aspiring to go to secondary schools, the apprentices, the young businessmen, young executives, and young entrepreneurs across Ghana watching, and for all of us here in this auditorium, please, let's be upstanding as we put our hands together and welcome the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party for the election 2024, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. This is so exciting to be here this evening, and I know that the youth of Ghana have joined us from all the regions. Upper West, Upper East, Savannah, Northeast, Northern Region, Bono East, Bono, Ahafo, Western North, Western Region, Ashanti Region, Volta Region, Oti Region, Central Region, Eastern Region, and Greater Accra Region. Thank you all for making the time, and I greet all of you. I wish you a very good evening. Fellow ladies and gentlemen, youth of this country, tomorrow will be exactly 12 months to the day I was elected by a clear majority of the New Patriotic Party to lead the party as its presidential candidate for the 2024 elections. 34 days from today, you, the millions of young people of Ghana, will form the majority among the 18.7 million voters who are expected to cast their ballots. Your task is to perform two simple but extremely important duties. One, choose a parliamentary candidate to represent your constituency in the 9th Parliament. Secondly, you will be choosing the next president whose responsibility is to provide for your present, to facilitate your future. From what I gathered in my interactions with you as I went around the country, I can sum up the priorities of the majority of you in 3 categories: education, skills, and jobs. Once you have an education and you acquire employable skills, what is left is to thrive in an economic environment which can generate a large and expansive pool of good jobs with good pay, whether as an entrepreneur, self-employed, or employee. In my conversation with you today, I will touch on all 3 and the business-friendly environment that my government, inshallah, will generate to make it all possible. I will outline the bold economic solutions that we plan to roll out, which will make it possible to create millions of jobs if I am given the mandate on December 7th, 2024. I have chosen this occasion to have a conversation with you, the young people of Ghana, mainly to remind you of the commitment I made to you exactly a year ago to make you my #1 priority. My commitment is to transform Ghana, to build on the economic recovery we are witnessing by introducing bold, business-friendly policy initiatives from January 2025, which are designed to stimulate significant economic activity. I am confident that these initiatives will create the large pool of diverse jobs that the young people of Ghana desire and deserve. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a little indication about my faith in what is possible for us to achieve together, beginning January 2025. The growth of the Ghanaian economy has been revised upwards to 4% for 2024 and higher in 2025. To put it into perspective, the economy grew by a mere 3.4% in 2016, the last year under President John Mahama. In fact, in 2025, Standard & Poor's is more buoyant with their forecast at 5.4%. I am even more optimistic that it is possible to do even more if, with your vote, you elect me as your next president and we implement my comprehensive business-friendly and job creation programs as outlined in the MPP manifesto, some of which I will highlight here. I'm seeing from the online numbers as I speak that more and more of you are watching and listening to me live across the country and beyond. I thank you for your attention. I know many of you will be voting for the first time next month. Indeed, 8 years ago, many of you were too young then and therefore could not vote in 2016. Perhaps too young to remember self-inflicted crisis and homegrown hardships that my opponent put the nation through at a time when the whole global economy was rather stable and growing. You may not remember much that Ghanaians endured unforgiving doomsday for well over 4 years. If we were lucky, the lights would come on some part of the day and off for a whole 24 hours the next day, and so on. Barbers and hairdressers worked to earn just enough, if they were lucky, to pay for diesel for the small generator they had borrowed. The situation led to severe low productivity across board. Factories could not stay open for months, let alone 24 hours. And several Ghanaians lost their jobs as a result of the bad leadership choices of my opponent. The banks were bleeding. Some senior high schools had to shut down because the government refused to pay their feeding grant for 2 years. In 2016, just a few years after we became an oil-producing country, Ghana's economy, to the shock of the world, suffered its lowest growth rate for more than a generation. The situation was so bad for young people that a new group was formed with impressive membership nationwide. The name of that group was Unemployed Graduates Association. Coincidentally, the president then is the same man who is my opponent, or who would be my opponent on Saturday, December 7th. I know some of you may not be too eager to vote. I do not blame you if you have bought into the view that all politicians are the same and that your vote won't make any difference. But that is not so. I can tell you that your vote can make a big difference. I will tell you why we are all not the same and cannot be the same. I am not John Mahama. He is a former president and a former vice president and president. I am a vice president who has never been president before, who is asking you for the opportunity to lead and show what I can do if offered the opportunity this December. You can trust me to protect the public purse and use it selflessly to serve you. To the young voters of Ghana, I will say to you, do not switch off. I ask you to get involved. December is about you. December is about who can deliver for you, for your future, whom you trust, who has the integrity, the vision, the energy, the competence, the sense of where the world is today and your place in it, who has the humility to serve you and the decency not to insult you. I shall plead with you to make an informed choice. It is a choice between the one who had his chance and blew it and the other who is asking for a similar chance but to deliver with it, which is me. The decision is yours to make, not to bring back what was discarded in the past, but to vote for your future. If your priority is, as I suspect, about how to build strongly on the economic recovery that is before us, then I will plead with you to vote for me because of the vision and solutions that I have for you and the country and the leadership discipline and determination that I possess to see them through. My own core values, God-fearing, tolerance, integrity, honesty, discipline, hard work, and inclusivity. My can-do attitude, my rejection of the tag of impossibility, my passion to unleash the creative energies of the youth, my compassion for the poor and vulnerable. All these align perfectly with the hopes and dreams of the young people of our country, rich or poor, north or south, educated or not, skilled or not, rural or urban. That is why I'm asking you to vote on December 7, 2024. Place your trust in me, and I shall not disappoint you. As Vice President since 2017, I have not had the luxury to write my autobiography. So please make do with this short bio. I was born in Tamale on October 7th, 1963, to Alhaji Mumuni Bawumia and Haji Mariama Bawumia. I attended Sakasaka Primary School in Tamale, Tamale Secondary School, Buckingham University in the UK for my first degree, Oxford University for my master's, and Simon Fraser in Canada for my PhD. I know what it's like to be unemployed. I have been a farm laborer before. I have been a taxi driver before. I have been a cleaner before. I've been a teacher, a technocrat, a banker, a running mate, a vice president, a father, and a husband. As a technocrat, I worked at the Bank of Ghana, rising to become deputy governor before entering into politics as Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's running mate in 2008. As vice president during the period that the world faced its worst global health pandemic in modern history and the worst cost of living crisis since the Great Depression of 1933, I believe I have gone inside the oven and come out baked and ready to take over and lead to solve. I know firsthand the untold hardships we have had to endure as Ghanaians, and I know what to do and what not to do in order to protect the gains we are making and to go on to build with urgency on them. I opted for politics because I knew and even believe now more than ever that politics is a powerful tool for a greater good, but only if in the hands of a leader who means well, knows how, and has what it takes to make a difference. I know I have the character, the experience, the vision, and the policies to address the concerns of the young people, and it is for this reason that I've asked to have this conversation with you today. Over this year alone, through my Youth Connect and other fora across the country, I have engaged with you, the youth, and listened to your fears, concerns, and aspirations. And I have been inspired by the ingenuity and can-do spirit of the Ghanaian youth. When I say to you today that your concerns and aspirations are my top priority items, I mean it from every sinew of my body. Indeed, I have been consistent right from the onset in making the destiny of the youth of Ghana my utmost priority. As I said in my acceptance speech as presidential candidate a year ago, and I quote, "I have my own vision and my own priorities." Given the opportunity by you, the people of Ghana, to lead, I shall govern as my own man with guidance from God Almighty. My vision is to build an inclusive, food self-sufficient, job-generating, data-driven, and systems-based nation that will fully participate in the global digital revolution to solve our problems, and also usher in a golden age of benefits from our natural resources. I want to lead a nation that improves and unleashes the talents of our youth and offers good jobs with good pay and sustainable growth with macroeconomic discipline. As presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, this is my commitment to the youth of Ghana. The talent of our youth in various sectors, such as information technology, robotics, entrepreneurship, creative arts, sports, and so on, is just amazing. When we bring the talents of the youth together, we will surely build a mighty nation. Together, we can transform this nation and do even more in many areas. I therefore invite the youth, particularly the Gen Zs, to join me in this journey of great possibilities. I have a place for you. Ladies and gentlemen, true to my quest for inclusivity, I want to ensure that the specific needs of young people are sufficiently addressed by my government, if given the mandate, because I see that as vital if we are serious about making a difference in the long term. If you elect me as your next president, I promise to involve you, the young people of Ghana, in the formal political processes. Your voices to be heard and your ideas drafted into formulating policies of government. My goal is to lead a government that makes our young people a positive force for a change that they themselves seek and our nation desires, which I know is necessary for the peace and integrity of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, our job creation plans. The government, recognizing and understanding that there are conditions that create sustainable and decent jobs, has implemented numerous policies to this effect. And in the first case, when we came in, we were clear in our view that we should create and expand educational opportunities for everybody. The free SHS policy, with about 5.7 million beneficiaries, is one of the critical policies to lay the foundation for decent and sustainable jobs in the future. Expansion of second cycle education with the free SHS policy enhances the skills of all beneficiaries who some hitherto might have fallen off the educational ladder due to financial challenges. Technical and vocational educational training, TVET, has not been left out. There is a need to train Ghana's labor force with the right skills needed to drive industrialization. And this is why we have made TVET free, just like senior high school. The Akufo-Addo-led administration in the last 8 years has undertaken massive investment in TVET. In fact, I believe that this is the largest investment in TVET by any government since independence, including science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM. The vision is to prepare the country's emerging labor force with the right training, skills, and education for the fourth industrial revolution. More so, this is also to address the mismatch between skills of the labor force and the demands of industry. My government will build on this by expanding educational opportunities for all. My government will, among other things, increase the stock of student accommodation in our universities and other public tertiary institutions to address the housing deficit on our campuses and make them affordable. We will introduce free tertiary education scholarship for persons with disabilities to remove financial barriers to pursuing their educational goals. We will also set a quota for the recruitment of persons with disabilities in all government recruitment and also provide incentives to the private sector to recruit persons with disabilities. We will expand the eligibility for the student loan scheme to include all post-secondary students, including certificate and diploma programs, and prioritize and direct a significant proportion of national scholarship schemes towards training and skills development. We'll protect and enhance the free SHS and free TVET, which is truly transforming lives and changing the life outcomes for millions of people. We'll continue to develop additional infrastructure for our educational institutions to meet the increased numbers that are resulting from the free senior high school policies. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a conducive economic environment is a prerequisite for decent and sustainable job creation. With our philosophy of economic liberalism, we believe it is our responsibility to create an enabling environment for the private sector, which we believe is our engine of growth to flourish. Among other things, a stable macroeconomic environment is paramount. My government will reduce the fiscal burden on government by leveraging the private sector. Under the two-term administration of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we have put in place many social safety nets, like free SHS, free TVET, and so on. With all these social safety nets in place, my government will now focus on jobs and wealth creation by the private sector for all Ghanaians. My administration will incentivize the private sector to complement government in the provision of many infrastructure and other services to reduce government expenditure and improve maintenance. We are going to do something that has not really been done in Ghana before. We are going to move to engage the private sector to build roads, schools, hostels, houses for government, and to rent or lease to own. The demand for roads construction is massive, and this has historically placed a huge burden on the budget. I believe that the private sector should finance the construction and maintenance of roads through PPP concession arrangements. Also, government will move towards leasing rather than purchasing vehicles, printing equipment, and so on. The private sector will have the responsibility for maintaining the equipment. With this approach, the budget can save very significant outright cash expenditure annually from various items across ministries, departments, and agencies. So with this solution, and this is why I'm saying we haven't done this before, if you need to buy 700 buses for schools, there's no point in government trying to fork out all the money to go and buy 700 buses. We will say to the private sector, government needs 700 buses for our schools. The private sector will then lease government 700 buses, and then we will pay over time. We don't have to expend all the cash at once. So every school will get a bus. We need hostels or dormitories. We don't have to build them. The private sector can build them, and we will pay the rent over time. So they will save a lot of money. You need to buy, vehicles for government officials. You don't need to look for cash to pay for all of them. You ask for a lease and do so. Roads and so on. So this is the thinking behind this policy. And I am going to, the move to include the private sector in the provision of many services will therefore create fiscal space. And we are proposing in the first 4 years, we're going to move immediately 3% of GDP of government expenditure to the private sector. 3% of GDP comes up to about 30 billion Ghana cedis. And we are moving that to the private sector. This is jobs. This is jobs for the people. The private sector has an incentive because the private sector knows the government is going to rent this building. If I build it, they will build it quickly and they will rent it and we will pay. So you will not have many uncompleted projects around the country because the private sector has an interest in completing all of these projects, whether it's hospitals, whether it's schools, whether it's roads, because they know they will be paid. And their banks know they will be paid, and the pressure on government will be much less. This represents a major paradigm shift. And this is why I say it has not been done before. We are going to do something very new structurally in our budget. We are also going to make sure that we continue the infrastructure program that we are engaged in many projects. We will complete all the Agenda 111 hospitals. Some will be completed this year. Most will be completed next year. But the good thing is that we will be able to recruit about 70,000 to 72,000 health personnel in the Agenda 111 hospitals. We have focused a lot on roads, and we have not yet finished, but we focused a lot on roads in our last 8 years. You've seen that we've done probably 3 to 4 times more roads than the previous government has done. We focused a lot on roads, but my focus, in addition to roads, by the grace of God, when I am president, I want to focus on railway. Railways are going to be very transformational for this country. We have to link our resources with the ports and other areas. So I'm going to focus on 2 major rail lines, the Eastern Line going to the north and the Western Line through Kumasi, Obuasi, and all of those areas to West Takrady. So we are going to focus on the rail, and not just focus on the rail. I was having a discussion with the the dean of the railway school at UMAT in Takoradi the other day. And I said to him, why do we have to import so much to do rail? Because Ghana had been seeing railways since the 1920s. And I want to challenge you that all the key materials, the blocks, that you use, the steel and all of that, let's manufacture all of them in Ghana. Let's manufacture all the materials here in Ghana. Let's not import them. Now, if you are going to do that, you are going to create jobs, and as you lay these rail lines across, we will do it. So let us master the technology. We can do it. And he agreed with me that it was possible, and we were going. So I'm going to insist that we make all these blocks. I mean, we're even importing concrete blocks from abroad for our rail. Concrete blocks, so we have to stop that. We are going to use local materials, which we have the resources to make the steel for the rail lines and create the jobs for our people. So I'm going to focus, because for this country to transform, we need rail. We need rail to explore our bauxite deposits, our iron and steel deposits, and all of that. So I'm going to focus in my presidency in making sure these two lines, the eastern and the western, come into being for Ghana to prosper and for us to create jobs. You will also see that in addition to this, government is commissioned the petroleum hub in Jomoro, the Izima area. And this is a major project. It's a $60 billion project. And the portal has been opened, and we are going to be able to see all the estimates come up with around 780,000 jobs for the petroleum hub. 780,000. The petroleum hub, as at now, has opened the portal for recruitment and for training already, even before the actual work starts on the ground. So they've opened the portal for the recruitment, but this is going to be a major transformational policy, the petroleum hub, which will come, we are going to support. As president, I'm going to move very, very hard for it to come into being. But we are looking at 780,000 jobs with the petroleum hub as we speak. So we have also infrastructure coming up. We've just signed an agreement for a concessional loan with South Korea. The president reached that agreement. It will mature by the grace of God and begin when I am president. $2 billion of infrastructure. And we are going to be building many pieces of infrastructure across the country. We've put together the list of projects that we are going to construct with this, and it's going to create a lot of jobs with this $2 billion investment. Ladies and gentlemen, as stated in our manifesto, my government has far-reaching policies and programs that will drive and create the needed employment opportunities. We will support the growth of businesses by the following policies, because we are a private sector. This is going to be a private sector government in a sense, because we are going to lift up businesses in the country and make them grow and prosper. The policies that we are going to implement include the following. We will implement a policy that is also new. We are going to use government's purchasing power to stimulate industrial expansion and business growth, which will help create jobs by rolling out a Buy Ghana First policy. Buy Ghana First policy, under which all goods and services procured by the public sector will first be filled by goods and services produced locally. So the other day I visited the Volta Star Textile Company in Joapong. And when I got to Joapong, they took me around their whole factory, and then it was clear that they were doing all sorts of textiles, school uniforms for all the schools and all of that. But they told me that somehow we were no longer buying from them. These uniforms and materials were now being imported from abroad for the schools. And I thought, no, that is wrong, because that means we are creating unemployment. We need to rethink as a country and be smart in that regard. So I thought very quickly. I said, we will implement a Buy Ghana First policy. And we are going to back it with law. So, if the Ministry of Education is to procure school uniforms, first look into Ghana. We have a lot of factories. We have a lot of tailors. Let's buy it from Ghana first. Then we will create the jobs in Ghana. So we are going to implement the Buy Ghana First policy, and we are going to back it by law. And it should require some amendment of the Public Procurement Act as well. But we are going to do it because it's in the interest of our country. We will also establish an SME bank, a bank for small and medium enterprises, to meet the special financing needs of SMEs, which employ over 80% of Ghanaians. Because SMEs employ over 80% of Ghanaians, we really need to focus on their needs if we are to create jobs. And so we are going to set up an SME bank to do this. We will also incentivize Ghanaian startups in selected strategic sectors with investment tax credits for the first 3 years of their operations. Startups go through a lot of problems, especially in their first 3 years of operation. They don't make money. They are really trying to get on their feet. And so we will give them investment tax credits for the first 3 years to enable them to stand on their feet, to be able to create the jobs that we want them to do. I'm also going to implement a shift in electricity tariffs structure to a regime in which commercial rates are either equal to or lower than residential rates, never higher. So, businesses complain a lot that, they pay more than the residential consumers, and that should not be the case. Businesses, by nature, as you see globally, should normally be paying less per kilowatt hour than the residential rate. So I'm going to make sure we engineer the change in that structure. Furthermore, I'm going to reduce the cost of power to businesses and households by bringing on board 2,000 megawatts of solar power and incentivizing users. Ghana needs to move towards solar power. We are too dependent on oil and gas. We need to get solar power. God has given us the sun for free. We have the technology to harness the solar power. We have started, and we can bring in initially at least 2,000 megawatts. And I believe that these move towards solar power can enable us to reduce the cost of power by 50% to households and industry. But 2,000 megawatts of solar power will require a lot of solar panels in the context of solar farms to generate that electricity. Because of the quantum of solar panels that we are going to require, I'm not going to encourage the importation of solar panels. I'm going to insist that we set up the factory here in Ghana to manufacture the solar panels right here so that we can master the technology, reduce the cost, and also be able to export to other countries. So we are going to push to bring the technology to Ghana. I'm also going to create special economic zones, which will be in collaboration with the private sector at our major border towns like Aflao, Paga, Elubo, Sankasi, and so on, to enhance economic activity and increase our exports as well as reduce smuggling. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to my proposals for tax reform. To support the private sector to create jobs, I will introduce a tax regime that is easy to understand, easy to comply with, and easy to enforce. and that is not subject to so much discretion. A year ago, I asked my team to do some research on the countries in the world with the most competitive tax system for businesses and for job creation. They looked at the research, came back and said that the most competitive country in the world as far as tax system is concerned was Estonia. Estonia. So I took a team and we traveled to Estonia. We met with their Prime Minister, their President, the tax authorities, and we understood their system. They operate a very simple tax system, and that is a flat tax system. And so, having looked at all the different systems, I believe that a flat tax system is very, very good for Ghana. And so my government will implement a very simple citizen and business-friendly flat tax system. A flat tax of a percentage of income for individuals and businesses with appropriate exemption threshold set to protect the poor. With the new tax regime, your tax return will be very easy to complete. We will also simplify our complicated corporate tax system and the VAT regime. Tax digitalization will be implemented across all aspects of tax administration, and everyone will be required to file a very simple tax return electronically through their mobile phone or computer. Under this new regime, there will be no need, for example, for the GRA to send officers to go and sit in shops. E-invoicing, as being implemented by the GRA, will be extended to all companies. We will also introduce a flat import duty regime for all importers, bringing predictability and stability to prices of imported goods. Furthermore, we will harmonize port charges to align with charges in competing regional ports, particularly Togo. Our duties at our ports cannot be higher than the duties in Togo. So we will be the same or we will be lower. Ladies and gentlemen, to start the new tax system on a clean slate, my government will provide a tax amnesty. That is a complete exemption from the payment of taxes for a specified period and the waiving of interest and penalties up to a certain year to individuals and businesses for failures to file taxes in previous years, so that everyone will start afresh. So a tax amnesty is coming for our businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, I want a Ghana where we can sustain food security and create jobs through the application of technology and irrigation to commercial large-scale farming. I will prioritize irrigation. For that matter, the Pualugu Dam, I will prioritize its construction by using private sector financing to crowd in grant financing. We'll also work with the private sector to create agricultural enclaves in each region based on its comparative advantage, with processing facilities in the food processing facilities in the enclaves. We'll invest in research and development of digital and AI technologies aimed at improving production, reducing post-harvest losses, and packaging agricultural produce for freshness, longer shelf life, as well as farming under arid conditions as well. We will also redirect the Agri Development Bank to expand its financing and guarantee lines through the SME Bank to support entities engaged in manufacturing of value-added agricultural products which are consumed in large quantities. I will also establish district agric mechanization centers in all farming districts in collaboration with the private sector. Just as we have done for the road sector and given every district, equipment for road construction, we are also going to give every district equipment for farmers in that district who will need those equipment. Ladies and gentlemen, under a housing for all policy, I will also have a major focus on the provision of public housing in the same manner that Singapore did. We will partner with the private sector to build large housing estates without the government having to borrow or spend. The housing market holds the key to millions of jobs. Architects, masons, electricians, plumbers, roofers, and so on. Unfortunately, however, our housing market is very, very feeble and relatively undeveloped. The mortgage market in the United States, for example, is some 12.5 trillion US dollars. That in the UK is about 250 billion US dollars. But in Ghana, our mortgage market is about 250 million US dollars. My government will unleash the job potential of our housing market by completing the ongoing digitalization at the Lands Commission. Title to land should be easy to establish online without reliance on land guards. Chiefs who hold stool land will be allowed to register stool lands without initially paying a fee. Many of them are not able to register their large tracts of land because there are fees associated with the registration. And so they don't do so, and then you have a lot of land disputes coming up. We are going to allow all the chiefs to register all their lands free initially. When they sell, then we can get our fee at the time they sell. With this, once we digitalize the land registry and title, banks and other lenders will be able to establish title to different properties easily and provide mortgage lending accordingly. Furthermore, my government will ensure that a variety of accommodation types are available to meet different pockets and needs, such as social housing and affordable housing. Ladies and gentlemen, as president, my government will usher Ghana into a golden age for the maximization of the benefits from our natural resources, like gold, lithium, bauxite, and so on, to create more jobs. The key to doing this is value addition and Ghanaian participation. We need a new paradigm in natural resource contracts. Some of the key policies we will implement to maximize our benefits from our natural resources will include formalizing, regularizing, and regulating environmentally sustainable small-scale mining. Our goal would be to help grow small-scale mining companies into large-scale companies with capacity building and assisting them to access financing to acquire equipment. In line with this, we will license all miners doing responsible mining. District mining committees, including chiefs, will provide the initial temporary licenses. Every Ghanaian in small-scale mining will register under the Ghana Small-Scale Miners Association with their Ghana card. And we will, in collaboration with the large mining companies, convert abandoned shafts into community mining schemes. We will also open more new community mining schemes, and district mining committees should be responsible for reclamation and replanting. We will set up state-of-the-art common user gold processing units in mining districts in collaboration with the private sector, and will provide traditional authorities something new, that is an equity share in all mining concessions under their jurisdictions. My government will also conduct an audit of all concessions with various licenses and new applications. This will allow government to know licenses that have expired, and non-compliance with licensing conditions. We will also establish, in collaboration with the private sector, a minerals development bank to support the mining industry. We will reduce the minerals export tax to 1% to discourage smuggling. And we will establish, through the private sector, a London Bullion Market Association, LBMA, certified gold refinery within my first 4 years. We're also going to make available. One of the problems we have, as I have noted before with Galamsey, is that many people who try to mine have no idea whether there is gold there or not. They do trial and error. But we are going to ask the Geological Survey Authority to provide data on our reserves to small-scale miners so that we know when we say, here there is gold, and this is how you should mine it responsibly without destroying the environment. We'll scale up the use of mercury-free gold catcher machine technology, which is less damaging to our environment. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, many people, I now come to the digital economy. Many people, including my opponent, do not understand the link between digitalization and the economy. Today, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The world economy, the global economy, is moving into a digital economy. So if you don't digitalize, you are going to be left behind. There's not going to be much of an economy for you. And this is so simple, and I just sometimes don't believe that it is not understood. Recently, I think this was last week, I launched the Go Ride app for our local taxi drivers who were being taken out of business by Uber and Yango and Bolt and so on, because they did not have the ability to also digitalize their operations. So we've helped the local taxi drivers to create a domestic app, which is Go Ride. And you know, once we said we were going to do that, people said, but what has this got to do with the economy? You're creating an app. But you don't understand, because Uber, one app, is worth $163 billion. That company, Uber. Ghana, the whole Ghana economy is 75 billion. One app from Uber is 163 billion. Ghana's total economy is 75 billion. So Uber is more than twice Ghana's economy. So it's very important. Today's world, Apple, the company that makes apps that we are all using on our iPhones, is worth $3.5 trillion. $3.5 trillion. That is 46 times the economy of Ghana. One company. Microsoft is 40 times the economy of Ghana. So if you don't understand that digitalization is the future, then you'll be stuck in the past. Then the rest of the world will go and leave you. I believe that Ghana needs a leader that can think about the future and that doesn't want to get stuck in the past. And so when we came into government, we started putting all the pillars that will be necessary for our digital economy in place. And people didn't understand that. We've done the Ghana card, done the digital address, we've done mobile money, interoperability, and so on. And we are one of the fastest digitalizing countries in Africa right now. I want to build a Ghana where we leverage technology, data, and systems for inclusive economic growth. Because if you don't have technology, data, and systems, then the poor are left out of the system. You have to know somebody. But when you have systems, you can pick up your mobile phone and renew your national health insurance without knowing anybody. You don't need to pay any bribe. You can apply for anything and receive it just on your mobile phone. You don't need to pay any bribe. So when I talk about inclusion, this is what I'm talking about. Protecting the poor who don't know anybody. I want us to apply digital technology for STEM, robotics, and artificial intelligence for the transformation of agriculture. Agriculture is an area where it's all technology. If we continue the way we are doing, without science and technology being brought to bear on agriculture, our yields will not really go up as we require. As part of this process, it is my goal to eliminate the digital divide. If you are going to digitalize, then your whole country must be digital. So we want to achieve close to 100% internet penetration in Ghana. We've already made significant progress in this direction by increasing internet penetration. When we came in to office, internet penetration was 34%, right? And then now we have increased it to 70% as of 2023. And so most advanced countries are above just 90%. So we are going to get there, and I want us to get close to 100% very soon. So the task in the next 4 years is to move from some 72% to over 90% as exists in advanced countries. And I want to make sure that everyone has access to the internet at affordable prices. It is possible. I want to see Ghana build the digital talent we require for the fourth industrial revolution. You need digital talent. This will mean providing digital and software skills to hundreds and thousands of youth. This, along with other policies, will create jobs for the youth, including school dropouts. In collaboration with the private sector, we will train at least 1 million youth in IT skills, including software developers, coders, to provide job opportunities worldwide. So with your digital skills, you are able to sit down in a Sankragua or in Funsi or in Sefiyu or so, and you'll be working in America, in Canada, in the UK, right from here in Ghana. Generally, there will be an enhanced focus on TVET education. My government will also support the establishment of a national open university Ghana in collaboration with the private sector with a focus on ICT, TVET, and STEM. To prepare our children for the fourth industrial revolution workplace, I will enhance the positioning of the education system towards STEM, robotics, artificial intelligence, and vocational schools to cope with the demands of the fourth industrial revolution and job creation. My government would make coding and robotics standard in senior high school. Furthermore, to become a digital hub in Africa, Ghana's telecoms industry needs more investment. The cost of data for the ordinary Ghanaian has become too expensive. Even though we are among some of the least in terms of prices in Africa, I still believe it is too expensive. It goes against the very ethos of our digitalization journey, and I commit to working with industry players in setting clear policy guidelines that will remove any investor uncertainty and difficulties in business planning, including the expeditious allocation of spectrum driven more by the goal of enhancing digital inclusion and less by revenue considerations. We will work with educational institutions and leading Ghanaian and global tech firms to establish a national robotics, engineering, and AI lab for research and training of young Ghanaians locally, and will provide venture capital as well as grant funding to commercially viable tech projects by Ghanaian startups to drive innovation and foster high-tech entrepreneurship, create jobs, and support the growth of Ghanaian high-tech business. We'll also establish, and this we have already gotten commitment from the central bank, we'll establish a fintech fund with a seed capital of $100 million to attract additional private sector funding to support Ghanaian startups, developing payments and financial services solutions, especially focused on region-wide and exportable solutions. One of the things that we have insisted on right from the beginning, and what we are going to continue to do, is to make sure that our tech development is driven by local Ghanaian companies. That is what we have done. If you look at our tech development, whether it's the Ghana card, whether it's the digital address, whether it's the mobile money interoperability, Ghana.gov, e-pharmacy, and so on, we have driven our tech development by local companies, and recently Go Ride and so on. And that helps our job creation locally rather than bringing it from outside. So we are going to continue to do this. I will also be abolishing, eliminating import duties on mobile phones until manufacturing capacity is established in Ghana so that we can put smartphones and other phones in the hands of the Ghanaian public at affordable rates. On this digital journey, I will also abolish the e-levy as we have already stated before. Ladies and gentlemen, I now come to a very important topic in terms of what we can do for job creation. Ladies and gentlemen, in advanced economies, workers are able to easily access credit to purchase basic items such as televisions, cars, mobile phones, and houses. They are able to do so because the credit system works and it is supported by individualized credit scoring by credit rating agencies. In the advanced countries, people are able to obtain mobile phones for free under contract arrangements with phone companies, for example, based on their credit scores. But for people with impossibility mindsets, they don't understand these things. In Ghana, such a credit system is yet to take root broadly. And therefore, life is harder for workers. It is my goal to make it easier and cheaper to access credit by leveraging on our data and systems, such as the Ghana card, Ghana Post GPS, mobile money interoperability, DVLA, GRA, bank accounts, and so on, to build an efficient credit system and mortgage market in Ghana, underpinned by individualized credit scoring and digitalization and land titling transfer. It is very, very important because without individualized credit scoring, which is broad-based, banks don't have enough information to lend to people. And so banks rather will lend to government and not lend to people. But if you have individualized credit scoring, people can buy things. If you're a nurse, you're a teacher, you're a taxi driver, you're a mechanic, you're someone who vends, a street hawker, even a kaya, as long as you can show income coming in through your Momo accounts and so on, you can have a credit score and the bank can give you credit and you pay small over time. With a credit scoring system, you don't need to know somebody to get your credit. We will be moving into digital lending. Digital lending. You sit on your mobile phone and receive a credit to say, this is your loan, go and spend it. That is, you don't know anybody, but you have a credit score, and you'll be given the loan based on your credit score. And so we are going to move into a new era that exists in the advanced countries. So you don't need to know somebody to get a loan from Maslow or this or that or that. No. The credit score then becomes your guarantor and the key to open the door to access credit. We're going to move Ghana into a new era. We started, putting things in place when we came into office. In the advanced countries, the individual credit scoring is based on 3 critical pillars. Number 1, everybody has an ID card or an ID number. Otherwise, you won't get credit. Number 2, everybody has a house address. If I give you a TV to pay on credit and you don't pay, I'll come to your house and pick it up. Right? So everybody has a house address. And number 3, everybody has a bank account. So when we came into office, looking ahead, we decided to put these things in place. We've done the Ghana card, so everybody has an ID. We've done the digital address system, everybody has a digital address. And we've done mobile money interoperability, which means practically everybody has a bank account in Ghana. In fact, let me give you one statistic. Ghana is the only country in Africa that has 100% access to financial inclusion. The only country in the whole of Africa, 100% access. If you don't have because in Ghana, our Momo accounts work like bank accounts. They are interoperable with bank accounts. That is the big difference. And so if you don't have a mobile account, it's because you don't want one. But if you want one now, right sitting here, you'll be able to open one. It's that simple. And so we have elevated our financial inclusion. We are the country with 100% access to financial inclusion. So when we came into office, we put in these 3 pieces: Ghana card, digital address, mobile money, interoperability. And this is now the foundation for credit scoring. So when we were talking digital, people could not relate it to the economy. They couldn't see what I was seeing. They said, why is this man focused on digital? It's not the economy. But the digital is going to give you money, right? So we've now put all these things in place. And I thought that we would be able to start the credit scoring system next year. But by the grace of God, we are going to start it this year before the end of this year. It is going to make life much easier for Ghanaians as we build our credit and then be able to access loans just like they do abroad. I'm told that the country in the whole of Africa that has an effective credit scoring system is South Africa. We also have systems in Mauritius, in Kenya, in Egypt, and so on, but they are not apparently as effective. But be that as it may, we will be joining the list of few countries in Africa with individualized credit scoring systems. And I will launch Ghana's credit scoring system on November the 7th. So just in a few days' time, Ghana will join what we were thinking only exists overseas. But this will change the game. This will change the game for Ghanaians and for the youth, because a lot of people just want a loan to start a business. You could get a loan, and this is why it's a very, very good policy. We are going to boost sports, the creative arts, and tourism through our e-visa policies to bring in visitors. Very easy to obtain visas. A visa-free policy for African and Caribbean nationals. We're talking about working and bringing streaming services, streaming apps for digital content. We've already started with the music app, which the private sector is putting together. We want to establish a sports development fund to really help sports development in this country and to upgrade our pitches to meet international standards, also to continue with the AstroTurf construction across all the country. We have done more sports facilities than any government in this country. When we came into office, Ghana had only 3 astroturfs, the whole country. Today we have over 150 astroturfs and counting. I'm going to make sure, because for the issue of governance is very important in job creation. We're going to work on a digital framework and for automation of government services. I want transparency in government. And so I want the whole of the public sector to go on a digital platform so that you will have complete transparency. And not only do we have a digital platform, it's going to be a platform which is blockchain backed. Blockchain backed means you have complete traceability of all actions that government is taking. You cannot take a decision and hide. It is available for everybody to see, and that is how we tackle corruption. So we're going to bring in blockchain, we'll put government on a digital platform and make sure that we are able to do this. One of the most potent weapons against corruption is transparency. And you see that a lot of corrupt activity is cash-based. And I want us to really move more in the area of electronic payments to be used in transactions as opposed to cash. So I would like to bring Ghana close to a cashless economy in the shortest possible time. The Bank of Ghana has made a lot of progress in this direction by putting in place a lot of systems and infrastructure that is required. And these include the mobile money interoperability, merchant interoperability, universal QR code, eSwitch, Ghana Pay, and so on. So we have the necessary infrastructure, and recently the bank has piloted the ECD, which is a major transformation, and I believe that by next year, the central bank, I believe, will launch the ECD. And this will really be, from my point of view, one of our ultimate weapons in our fight against corruption, because it will provide transparency, reduce the risk of fraud, robbery, tax avoidance, and the movement of money, and identify suspicious activity so that we can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, we must collectively have a mindset of possibilities and not impossibilities. The challenges we must overcome as a country are too important to let our political differences derail us. There is a critical failure of mindset that manifests itself in the absence of core values, patriotism, and principles within our society. We need to invigorate the can-do spirit of the Ghanaian to believe that we can even do better than we have ever imagined, and we can be world beaters if we put our mind to it. We can be proud of some of our accomplishments to date. Ladies and gentlemen, many may not know, but even in our current circumstances today, Ghana has the second highest education quality in Africa. The second highest education quality in Africa. Tunisia is number 1. Ghana is number 2 out of 54 African countries. Secondly, Ghana has the 7th lowest multi-dimensional poverty rate in Africa. The 7th lowest out of 54 countries. Multi-dimensional poverty, Ghana has the 7th lowest. Thirdly, Ghana is on the list of countries with zero hunger. Zero hunger. Fourthly, Ghana is second on the list of countries with decent work and economic growth in Africa. Second, out of 54. Fifthly, Ghana is the only country in Africa with 100% access to financial inclusion by its population. Ghana has the fastest growing mobile money market in Africa. 7, Ghana has the 3rd highest food security in Africa. After South Africa and Kenya, Ghana has the third highest food security in Africa. 8, Ghana is ranked third in Africa in terms of affordable internet rates. Even though for me, I still think it's too high. But the ranking gives us third. 9, Ghana has the largest medical drone delivery service in the whole world. The whole world. Ghana has the largest medical drone delivery in the whole world. 10, the Mo Ibrahim Index indicates that Ghana is the 7th best governed country in Africa. The 7th best governed country in Africa. 11, Ghana is on the list of 10 countries in Africa with the lowest petroleum prices. 10 countries, the lowest 10 out of the 54, Ghana is on that list. Number 12, Prempeh College and Mamfi Methodist Girls Senior High Schools have won world robotic competitions. World robotic competitions. So it is possible. It is, I'm just mentioning these to let us know that we should be confident about the future. It is possible to be world beaters. We can do things much better than the rest of the world, not just African countries. Let us think big. Let us think about possibilities. It is possible for us to be the best in the world. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that as Vice President, the policies I have championed or initiated have impacted or will impact the lives of virtually every Ghanaian. These include the Ghana card, the digital address system, mobile money interoperability, Agenda 111, e-pharmacy, Ghana.gov, one constituency, one ambulance, Zongo Development Fund, paperless ports, motor insurance database, renewal of NHIS membership on the mobile phone, the Ghana card number as your TIN, SNIT, and NHIS number, zip line drone deliveries, gold for oil, gold purchase program, and so on. I have 33 such policies to my credit as Vice President. As Vice President, I have 33 such policies to my credit. Through the successful implementation of these policies, I have proven to be a problem solver and a promise keeper. I challenge anyone to mention just one policy my opponent championed or initiated or implemented as Vice President. Just one. Just one. Just one. I have never been President of Ghana before. I am presenting myself to you for the first time to ask for your precious vote to serve you as your president and to continue the development agenda of the MPP. And in all humility, I would like you to give me the opportunity to become one of the most impactful presidents in Ghana's history. In me, you will have a brand new tear robber president, not a second-hand failed president. My opponent, the former president, to put it mildly, is very inconsistent. He opposed free senior high school, saying it was bogus and will collapse the economy. But today he says he introduced it. He, as president, introduced the teacher licensure exams. But today he says he opposes it. He abolished teacher and nursing training allowances. He said he would abolish it even if it cost him the presidency. But today he says he will continue to pay them. He is not committed to it. It's just for political expedience. He has touted in the past infrastructure as one of his achievements. But because our infrastructure record is superior to his, today he says that infrastructure doesn't matter for the economy, that the economy is different from infrastructure. How can that be? I mean, really, for someone who has been president of Ghana to say the infrastructure doesn't have anything to do with the economy, then I understand why the economy collapsed under his watch. Today he says there is no link between digitalization and the economy. Right? How can that be in this fourth industrial revolution? How can we have a leader who doesn't appreciate the value of digitalization in a digital global economy? He should not be allowed close to the presidency with that mindset. He should not be allowed close to the presidency with that mindset. A leader who doesn't understand digitalization in today's world wants to be president of a country like ours, trying to move forward into the future? No. Ladies and gentlemen, his signature economic policy, the 24-hour economy, has defied explanation and understanding. It's basically a case of one day, one explanation, including the rearing of lions and elephants. The latest explanation that I have heard from them is that for one job, you will have 3 shifts and 3 workers. So if you have a school, one teacher will come in the morning, another will come in the evening, and another will come at midnight, including kindergarten teachers. He also says it is voluntary and will be implemented gradually. Ewurade Nyankopɔn. Ladies and gentlemen, I am determined to make a difference, a positive difference. I will work for you and with you, with honesty and integrity, with wisdom and decisiveness. I have clarity in my mind as to what I want to do from day one if you make me president. I will not ask for a honeymoon to cool off and think about what to do with the responsibility you would give me. I am prepared and ready to work if you give me the opportunity. You know what I stand for. You know my vision. I believe in the ingenuity of the Ghanaian. Together we can succeed in building a progressive society of possibilities, enterprise, compassion, open opportunities, and shared responsibility of every Ghanaian, born rich or poor, born in the north or south, born Christian or Muslim, born boy or girl. To the youth of our country, let me repeat my appeal to you. Our nation is at a crossroads. We are preparing to elect a new president on the 7th of December 2024, and I believe I would serve our nation better as your next president. I am a problem-solving leader. In the last 7 years, I have, with the blessings of President Akufo-Addo, led initiatives to address some of the fundamental problems with public service delivery. I possess the integrity you require in your next president. I believe the Almighty has blessed me with the fortitude of character to ensure the implementation of bold solutions for the future. My track record of public service and international development is public knowledge. My entire career, from an academic through the Bank of Ghana, the African Development Bank, and to the current role of Vice President, has been anchored on competence, diligence, and effective management skills that have contributed to my ability to see projects through to completion. My proven capability to manage and deliver results professionally and transparently sets me apart from the rest in the race. As an experienced professional with unblemished national and international credentials, I am ready to bring that expertise to bear on national governance with the sole motivation to transform this country. Given these and my verifiable personal integrity, I am convinced, ladies and gentlemen, that you will hand the steer to me to usher in a new management style that will give us more results, a paradigm shift in how we manage our resources, and let the benefits of nationhood reach out to every member of society. With humility, I declare that I am a visionary leader who can generate new ideas to confront problems. I have exciting ideas needed for the 21st century. We have done a remarkable job in creating jobs in the last 7 years. Indeed, so far, as yesterday or day before, I checked on the data from Senate and other sources, and so far, from between 2017 and 2024, the latest data is that we've created 2.6 million jobs. 2.6 million jobs. 1.4 in the private sector and 1.2 in the public sector. This is the highest of any government in the Fourth Republic, the highest job creation. We have more to do because we still have high unemployment. Our youth still need jobs, but we have done quite a bit. Unemployment is still a major issue, but I'm making a firm commitment to sustain and expand the rebounding economy to address the problem of unemployment. With COVID, what I want you to put your minds to as I conclude, if with COVID and the Russia-Ukraine war and all the global depression, the worst since the Great Depression of 1933, if with COVID and all of these global problems, the high increase in the cost of living, depreciation, exchange rate, debt levels going up, all of that hit us. Notwithstanding all of that, we've created 2.6 million jobs. Can you imagine what the next 8 years under my presidency will look like? Just think about it. Just think about what we are doing for businesses. Look at 30 billion we are going to be passing on to the private sector. Look at the 780,000 jobs from the petroleum sector alone. Look at the 1 million digital skills that we're going to train in the youth. Look at the infrastructure, the railways, the 2 billion Korean facility, the health facilities, Agenda 111, the housing. Just think about all of this. If in 8 years, with all the challenges, we were able to do 2.6 million jobs, it shows by just plain logic and reason that we will do much more than 2.6 million in the next 8 years. I expect us to go to at least, if we proceed on this trajectory for the next 8 years, we should, with all of these different aspects come in, I am looking at us moving to create 4 million jobs in the next 8 years. We've done 2.6, almost 3 million. So we can do 4 in the next 8 years with the new policies that we are coming with. It is possible. It is possible. It is possible. With your support, prayers, and God's guidance, we can win together. It is possible. Thank you for your attention. God bless you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel, also on Joy 99.7 FM, also on myjoyonline.com. What you